doma, which is the rooftop, housetop.
That's right.
You look at the Greek word doma from domata. When we talk about gifts, Bishop used some words transliterated from the English, from the Greek, that may be challenging, but we were with him.
Yes.
When we talk about 1 Corinthians 12,
Yes, sir.
Those gifts,
Yes, sir.
if you can think of those gifts as manifestation gifts, Romans 12, those gifts as ministry gifts, and we think of Romans is motivation gifts, and we think of Ephesians as ministry gifts. You're able to break them down and understand them maybe a little bit, you're able to grasp them a little bit better. But what we want to talk about on today, just very briefly, is God shared something with me as I was sitting there. I didn't know where I was going with it, because I wanted to ensure that both of what we wanted to talk about was connected. But as I was sitting there was something that occurred to me about gifts, that every gift is charged in an environment. That everyone here, there are electrons and neutrons that are moving in the environment.
Absolutely, right now.
Now, when you are connected with people, and we have one mind as people under the banner of Christ, the room and the atmosphere is absolutely charged for anything to happen.
That's correct.
Okay? So we carry the Spirit of Christ with Christ's gifts within us. And God gave the gifts severally so that there would be no division in the body. Right? So each of us has a distinct gift, and which means that all of us are necessary. The culmination of gifts coming together are necessary for the edifying of the body of Christ, the perfecting of the church. So when we talk about environments, we go back to the book of Genesis. Right? The Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And it said that the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters, and God said, let there be light. Right? So the Bible says in the beginning, so God was in the beginning before the beginning began.
Absolutely.
So when he spoke out and gave us an environment. He created the environment before he created humanity. So God gives us the environment, and watch this. The Bible says, God says, let there be light.
Absolutely.
Right? And then what happens? The Bible says there was light. But he did not create the source for light until he created light.
That's correct. That's
so God turns on the light before he creates the body for the light to emanate from.
That's right.
Right? Now, something that I want you to pay close attention to. The Bible says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth was without form and void, and darkness upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the water. God said, let there be light. The operative word there is let. Right? Which means that there was a source for light.
That's correct.
That was already available.
Yes, sir.
Before God said let. God never said create.
That's right.
He said let.
That's right.
Which meant that everything that was holding back the environment from receiving the light had to step back.
That's right.
In other words, the curtain was drawn.
That's right.
For the light to come through. Are you with me?
Yeah.
And for light to shine in the middle of what we thought or what we see or perceive as a dark place. So God allows something to step into the nihil. The nihil is nothing but the negativa.
Yep.
That is God's negative. God deals with negative, and God uses negative as much as he uses us.
That's right.
Right? Now watch this. I need you to understand this. He makes something out of nothing. Right? Say with me, absolutely nothing. Absolutely nothing. Look at your neighbor and say, if you got nothing, you're with God. You're with God. Because God always makes something out of nothing.
Yes, sir.
So God steps in the negativum, the negative, and he says, I got to create something. So all of the things right now that you think about that you have to encounter in life, and you look at it and you say it's negative, and you say, I need to pray. Ask yourself the question, do I really need to pray? Because, watch this, when God ever created an environment, he set a set of rules for the environment. There's a set of rules to enter the environment, and there's a set of rules to get out of the environment.
Amen.
Are you listening to me? So when God created you, you were the rule. You were the rule for the environment. So when you say that you got to pray about everything that you have to do, you have to ask yourself the question, is my gift not sufficient enough for the environment that God created me?
That's good.
Ask yourself the question.
That's good. That's good.
Because when God created me watch this, when God created me, say with me, he created me.
He created me
to fill the negative void. So whenever there's a void, God created me. My gift is ready for the void.
Yeah.
My gift is ready for whatever it is that's in front of me right now. I don't care how difficult it is. God gifted you. You may be able to sing. And your singing is connected to your prophetic understanding and your prophetic gift. But God gifted you for that negative environment right now. Whatever it is, God gifted you and placed you in that space to do something about it. You'll be remembered by the problems you solve and those you create.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Say with me, I'll be remembered by the problems I solve and those I create. I have to ask myself the question when I'm laying in a casket whether or not the people are crying because I'm gone or they're crying because they're happy to see that the hell is left. Ask yourself the question. My gift should have been so dominant in the earth that I've left an impact. Are you with me?
Yes.
I've left an impact wherever I am. Yeah, so my light has come forth in the negativism, and where I am right now, it's left an impact where I am right now.
Yes, yes, yes.
Right? So the Bible says this. I've got something for you, just a couple thoughts that I have for you today. Now, the Bible says this. The Bible says over in John 20, because I'm going to use that kind of as a focus text. And then we're going to swing over to Mark 2 just for a few minutes. I know you've been sitting, and I know some of you are hungry. I know the church look. Right? I know the church, so we're going to get to the full. But just let me give you a couple of thoughts here that I just want you to consider. Jesus has the disciple has just went to the tomb. The mother of Jesus and Martha have just gone to the tomb, and Jesus is no longer in the tomb, and they expect him to be there. So the question that looms is, why in the world are they there looking for Jesus to be in the tomb? Because Jesus has already told them that he's going to get up.
Absolutely.
He said, I won't be here. And Bishop has already told us about the gifts after the ascension of Christ. I do quite a bit of teaching in my church about what do we do with it now. Because after Jesus has ascended, what are we supposed to be doing now? I just finished a series in my church on, what was it? What is it? I'm making my move. I'm making my move. That now is not the time to pray for it when God has already given us the environment to make the move in. All right. You don't need affirmation from anybody to qualify the fact that it's your season. Are you listening to me?
Absolutely.
That now it's time for you to get up off of your knees. You got to understand what faith is. Faith is hearing from God. Are you listening to me? Watch this. Faith, yes, is a substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen, but it's mystery and certainty walk together to produce an outcome, which is called a miracle.
Yes, sir.
Did you get that?
Absolutely.
Watch this. Faith is mystery and certainty walking together to produce an outcome, which is called the what? A miracle. So I've got doubt. They don't like me to teach this, Bishop. I've got some doubt with my faith because every day I don't believe what I know that I can do. Sure. Yeah. There are some times that I talk myself out of what I know God told me to do.
All right.
Y'all are not listening. Are you listening? But my faith says this. My faith says this. My faith says I've heard from God and I've seen the word. So I've got to mix my faith with the word.
Absolutely.
So my faith says that this is why you have to be careful, because if you're not careful with faith, you'll continually take a risk.
Right.
You listening to me? Yeah. See, some people say they're stepping out on faith, but they're not stepping out on faith. They're stepping out on a risk. In other words, God never said it. What do you mean? Watch this. We have to understand that Christ is the spirit of truth. Right?
Yes.
It means the spirit of truth. The Bible says, let every man be a liar, but let God be true. Yeah. So if the spirit of Christ is true, we have to believe on something. Right? So you have to believe. What do I believe in? We have faith to when we get saved, we've got faith in the death, the burial, and the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Right? That's faith. So we have to believe on something. If someone says to me that they're stepping out on faith, but they had no precedent on which to believe in, that really wasn't faith. That was a risk. Yeah. So when God doesn't do what I thought he should have done for me when I was stepping out on my risk, it wasn't God saying it in the first place. That was my mind telling me that I need to do it. So I don't owe God an attitude
What I need to do is I owe God an apology for not understanding that he never said it in the beginning.
That's right.
So my faith, say with me, my faith has to be built on something. Watch this. And watch this. Faith comes by hearing. That's why my atmosphere and my environment, are you listening to me? Faith, it comes by hearing. So you can have faith in the wrong thing. Yeah. You can have faith in your worry.
True.
You know, because worry is nothing more than worship in the wrong direction. Are you listening to me? So this is why you have to be careful about what comes in your ear. So here we are. I took a long way route around to this point. So here we go. Jesus is here at the tomb, right? Or Jesus has come out of the tomb, and here's Mary and Martha at the tomb, and here's Peter there. And Peter, you know, I don't need to do any talking about Peter. You know Peter. And so they're there at the tomb. They go into the tomb. Jesus is no longer at the tomb, and they're wrestling with what's going on or what is happening. Jesus already told them. I wasn't going to be here.
Right.
So their faith should have been based on the word that Jesus had already. Jesus had already spoken. See, this is the point that I wanted to give you. This is what they missed. And I'm talking to you today about environments, because if your gift is going to be active, you got to have the right attitude and the right environment. Watch this. But one thing that I want you to notice is this: God never created an environment without the potential for resurrection. Say with me, God never created an environment without the potential for resurrection. This is what you have to understand as you're moving with your gift. As you understand your gift and understand what God has called you to, understand this: whatever negativum is there that's resisting your gift, God never created an environment without the potential of a resurrection. I don't care how dead it is, there's a resurrection element in it. God created death and life. It's like, watch this, but he gave you the power. I'm so glad that Bishop talked about the power. He gives you the power, watch this, because he says death and life. But he created death. Y'all ain't saying nothing. He created death and life, but he said death and life are in the power. Yeah. So why are you on your knees praying about the boss that's giving you so many problems? Why are you on your knees praying about the person in your church that's giving you so much conflict? Right? We don't have to pray about it. We have to speak about it. Because the Bible says in the beginning, God created heaven and earth, and earth without form and void. God put on the face of the spirit of God, who put on the face of water. God said, yes. Come on, talk back to me. God said, yes. So what did God do? He spoke to it. He didn't think about it. Y'all ain't saying nothing. He spoke to it, and what happened as a result of him speaking to it? He created something. Are you with me to it? Because God knew that death and life were where? In the power of the tongue. Now watch this. Everything, Bishop talked about that authority. I don't have time. Bishop talked about that authority. Everything that God said had to come under the authority of his voice.
Yes.
Are you listening to me? Everything that you say with me, everything that I say has to come under the authority of my voice. So whatever you say is the weapon of your tongue. Whatever you say, you can kill or you can give life. You have that type of authority in your tongue. Say with me, I can kill or I can give life. Yes, indeed. So I tell people all the time when they talk to me about prayer, because the environment was charged for prayer. Watch this. Prayer is not for God as much as it is for you. That's right. Because God knows you. Say with me, prayer is for me. It's for me. How do I know that? Well, if I know that faith comes by hearing, I need to hear myself talk. So the question is, why are you hearing yourself talk so much negative stuff about what's going on in your environment? God knows what the environment is, but he gave you the environment to do something about it. So if your environment is in front of you and you've got gifts that's running through you, why don't you change the environment based on the gift that's working through you? So I got the gift inside of me, and I'm working the environment that is in front of me. People blame, as Jesus is there, and he comes out. Jesus comes out, and he ascends. He comes out, ascends to the Father, and then he presents himself to the disciples. You have to understand something here. This was a dark place.
That's correct.
This is a dark place in the minds of the disciples. They are sad. Because watch this. They're sad because Jesus is no longer there. Why? Because the disciples were more turned on by a feeling than a future. Are you listening to me? Jesus gave them a great feeling. He didn't mean to give them a great feeling, but that's what they perceived from him. That's what you have to know about people in your churches. Some people are there for a great feeling. There are people in my church, Bishop, that just love to hear me preach. But they have no inclination to the changes that need to be made in their lives to become better disciples.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
They
right.
want to be there to feel good, and you have to let them feel good.
Yeah.
So there are people, when it's offering time, they come around and everybody stands and they pass the offering down. You see people sit. And I tell the pastors in my church, they say, well, they being disrespectful. I say, no, they're not. That's where they are. They came to feel good.
Yeah. That's right.
Y'all ain't saying nothing.
Yeah.
Well, what do you mean? When the atmosphere is charged, people just want to be around the atmosphere that's charged for them to feel good. Right? Yeah, so some people, oftentimes, people don't come from a move of God.
Right.
Are you listening to me? Why did you go to the club?
I'm doing it. That's
We went to the club because the environment was right.
That's right.
Are you listening to me? So there are people that come to your church. They come to your church not to hear a word from God. They come because the environment was right. All they want to do is check a box. They want to go home and call their mom and say, I went to church today.
Yeah.
How they feel is not left up to you. And Jesus knows it because, watch this, Jesus leaves the tomb, he resurrects, and here we are, he's out of the tomb, and the disciples there are upset because they were after a feeling in lieu of a future. Watch this. But one thing you have to understand, say with me, I've been called, to defy the assignment of an unprogressive environment. How do I know that? Because that's why God gave me the gift. He gave me the gift to defy the assignment of an unprogressive environment. Now Jesus, watch this, while he was in that tomb was dark, but nothing develops unless it's dark. A film is developed in a dark place. You talk to any photographer, a film is only developed in a dark place. You got to take it in a dark room in order for the film to come to pass and to come to full fruition of what it's supposed to be. So it has to develop. Now watch this. It has to develop, watch this, in an unprogressive environment. And you're the only one that can charge an unprogressive environment. You have to know what Psalm 118 says. Psalm 118 says God is on my side. And when God is on your side, and Bishop took it a step further and said, not only is God with me and God for me, but we see back in the 13th century, 1260 to 1328, there's a guy by the name of Meister Eckhart. And Meister Eckhart talks about being God. And Bishop, he's repudiated by the church and even kicked out of the church as a heretic because he talks about that you can have such a mystical experience with God, that mysticism of turning inward to the source that lies within, that you can actually become indistinct. See, everybody can't
Yes, sir.
And that indistinction is nothing more than becoming God.
Yes, sir.
And everybody kicked him out of the church. And Meister Eckhart said, I'm not God, but I've got the source that lives within me, which makes me a candidate for doing the impossible. I'm with you. You can't say this to everybody. No. People tell you that you thinking you God. But when I'm made in his image, I'm like.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Look at somebody and say, I'm like. So when people see me, they need to see God.
That's right.
That's right. When people see me, yes, sir. Y'all ain't saying nothing. When people see me, they need to see God. Well, okay, give me some Bible. Can we give you some Bible? Remember, God, I'm rushing. Remember the book of 1 Samuel when boy Samuel is confused about who's called. And he says to him, Eli says to the boy Samuel, Eli said, the next time you hear the voice, just say, speak Lord, because Eli is able to discern who's talking. See, watch this, pastors, and this is going to help you as we talk about environment. When you cannot discern, you got to find something that sounds like God. And Eli sounded like God. Watch this. So Samuel was able to go to and find something that sounded just like God.
Sounded like God.
So what is that saying to you? What is that saying to you today? God has given you the capacity to be his image. He made us in the likeness. He conformed us in the image of him. So why do you operate from a passive perspective? Why do you operate from a passive aggressive? Bishop, I agree with you. I'm so sick of whip Christians.
Yes, Lord.
The wonderful thing that I love about Muslims is they're not scared.
That's right.
I said that some of the people in my church, they got mad with me. That's why I have a whole lot of Buddhist friends.
That's good.
Because I had some people in my church and pastor, What you doing with them Buddhists? They telling you all that garbage, but Bishop, I agree with everything they say ain't wrong.
That's right.
Watch this. It was Gandhi that said this. He said, I only would have been Christian if the Christians would only acted like Christ. You want me to say it again? Gandhi said, I would have been Christian if only the Christians acted like Christ. And you know, he said that most Christians do not exemplify what Matthew 5 says in the Beatitudes.
That's right.
He said we're ostentatious. We're into what we think the facade of Christianity. He said, but nobody wants to get their hands dirty. He said, I would have been, you know what? Gandhi said, I was almost persuaded.
Yep.
He said, but I never saw an example that made me finally make the decision that I wanted to be Christian because everything looked like Constantine.
Yes, indeed. That's right.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
So here we go.
Wow.
Jesus is at the tomb. I'm going around in circles. Jesus comes out of the tomb. Here the disciples are. They're at the tomb. Watch this. God gave us the environment, and God gave us to defy an unprogressive environment. What's an unprogressive environment? Let's go back to the book of Genesis, right? Because you got the gift. Say with me, I have a gift. To change the environment.
Change the environment.
Yeah. I don't know that because watch this. We go back to Genesis and we see the snake in the environment. Many people call the snake the devil, but I don't call the snake the devil. I call the snake presenting an option. Many people call the snake the devil, but I say just the snake didn't do. Well, how do I know that? Well, watch this. Because think about who you are and where you live right now. We have Apple, we have Samsung, we have Android. What else do we have? What else do we have?
BlackBerry.
We have BlackBerry. Say with me, options. The problem is we have too many options because we're in the age of wisdom. Gnosis. We're in the age of wisdom, so there are a whole bunch of options that are out there before us that are lying out before us right now. Now watch this. Options just didn't happen. It happened in the garden.
Yes.
What happens? The snake comes in the garden. The snake is not saved. The snake is an option. And look who the snake goes to. We're talking about environment. The snake shows up in a God environment. That's it. Because if you go back and you do some reading and contemplating, you'll realize that there is no geological proof of Eden.
That's right. That's right.
Watch this. So Eden, paradise, watch this, was a concept. Get into a little bit of mysticism right now. Watch this. So we're in the, I don't want to take you too far. I don't want anybody to think I'm not saved and all that kind of stuff. But watch this. We're in the Garden of Eden. The snake comes, say with me, the snake slithers in the Garden of Eden. Who created the snake? God created the snake.
Absolutely.
So everybody said that the snake was evil. Who said the snake was evil? Because the snake just gave him an option. You want potatoes or you want rice. But look who the snake goes up to. The snake doesn't go to the one who has authority. The snake goes to, y'all ain't saying nothing. The snake goes to Eve. Watch this. And Eve makes one critical mistake. What was it? She did what? She talked to him. And how was that a problem? Because death and life are in the power of the tongue. She gets into conversation with something that presents her an option that had no authority over her Eve. So who told Eve that she even had to give an explication of what she was doing to something that had no authority? But if she had been by her man, y'all ain't saying nothing. Because, oh God, I'm not going to do it. All right. So if Adam had been in right position, perhaps he would have been able to intercept the conversation that was going on and tell the snake, you're talking to me. But what I want to share with you on today is this. The environment was already set for something incredible to happen. For something tremendous to happen. But it was only because the option that the snake brings that got us in trouble, because she has a conversation with the snake and the snake has no authority to be in conversation with her. But watch this. She has the authority to tell the snake to shut up but doesn't know it. Because God doesn't reveal to her that she has the authority to tell the snake to shut up.
Absolutely.
But she has a gift. And what is her gift? Creativity. And what is creativity? She's human. So she's been, watch this, God has given her prominence in the earth as a human to speak to it, and Jesus has not been revealed yet in earth.
That's right.
But watch this, but God has given her the authority to say something to the snake, but she doesn't even know it. And what does that saying to you today? Watch this. You have been called to defy an unprogressive environment. Whatever is not progressive, you have to ask yourself the question whether or not God is there. Because everything God births forth has to grow. It has to prosper. It has to grow. It has to increase. And watch this. You can't sit back and wait for God to do it. You have the authority in you with your gift to speak to the environment and to align with the right apostolic authority to help you with methodology and strategy to ignite something in the earth. Say with me, I got it.
I got it.
Look at your neighbor and say, we got it.
We got it.
Watch this, when 2 or 3 gather in his name.
Yeah.
Watch this. He said he promised, watch this, to be in this midst. He said agreeing as touching. The Bible doesn't say touching and agreeing. Preachers misquote that scripture all the time. The Bible doesn't say touching and agreeing. The Bible says agreeing as touching. So when you ask the question, what is God? Say with me, ask me the question, say, what is God? Say, who is God?
Who is God?
Agreement. God is agreement. I know God is agreement. Number 2, you know what else God is? Everything that God wanted to be. You know who we are? Everything that God wanted to be in the body. Yeah. So all we have to do is God's agreement, and we are everything that God wanted to be in the body. We just got to agree with God. And God is agreement. Right? I don't know. He said, how can 2 walk together? Except, how do I know that God agreed with me? Because he created me. So, and watch this. I'm everything that he wanted to be in the body because he's spirit. In other words, when God created me, he looked down and he created me, put me through my mother's womb, and he said, that's what I want to be in a body. I don't know, because he did the same thing to Jesus. What happens to Jesus? Jesus comes through the womb of a woman, and he is the embodiment of God.
That's right.
All right now.
That's right. Right.
He said, but we're afraid to walk in authority. When we have, watch this, the gift.
Yes.
We have the gift inside of us to walk in that type of authority. If you don't know the types of gifts that you have right now, I don't know what to tell you. Because Bishop has explained the gifts of Christ. Now watch this. If you don't understand any of these gifts right now, the one thing that you can hold on to is that you have authority.
Absolutely.
Are you listening to me?
Absolutely.
Say with me, I have authority. And that authority was called to charge the environment. Watch this. Last point I want to make is this. I just jotted down a couple things here that I wanted to share with you, and I'm going to move out of the way so we all can enjoy the meal. Say with me, dark environments do not have authority to restrain Dead Sea. I don't know, because remember, our focus text was Jesus. Jesus is in the tomb. Jesus comes out of the tomb. They go to the tomb, and Jesus is no longer there. What was Jesus but a seed? Jesus is germinated in the womb of a tomb. So your environment, you have to go to every environment, and you have to understand that every environment is a womb instead of a tomb. Say with me, my environment. My environment is a womb and not a tomb. So Jesus is in the tomb.
Thank you, God.
So watch this. You have to understand that all the dark environments that you have, dark environments do not have the authority to restrain the Dead Sea. Jesus is out of the tomb, so they have to understand that that environment, that dark environment in the tomb, did not have the authority to restrain the Dead Sea. So Jesus comes out of the tomb. So what am I saying to you? You have dark environments that you're going through, and you're trying to navigate throughout the course of your pastorate or whatever you're doing in the church right now, but it cannot restrain who you are. Watch this, because every environment has been programmed for resurrection. I don't care what it is. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care what you don't understand. Don't you know that God will touch your intellect? Yes. How do I know that? Because Jesus is the Logos. What is the Logos? What principle? Okay, it is the root word for legitimacy, or the root word for principle. Logos. Logos, you will never find this word in the Bible, but it's translated out from the Latin. Logos meaning principle. Meaning, watch this, ideology. Say with me, ideology. Yeah, so Jesus is an ideology. I don't know that. What is an ideology? Ideology happens in the mind. It's an idea. So Jesus is nothing more than God's best idea. So when God created you and birthed you out of your mother's womb, you were created to be the best idea for this environment. Jesus is the Logos. He is the best idea for the earth. He was God's best. He was all that God could come up with for the redemption of humankind. And you have to understand that I'm God's best idea. Say with me, I'm God's best idea. That's not arrogant, that's fact.
Yes.
You are God's. How do I know that? Because I'm in his image. And so this environment where I am right now, I was supposed to be here. God ordained it for me. Now watch this. I had a choice. I didn't have to be here. Because I had a choice to reject the impulse for me to be here. Because God never takes away our choice.
That's right.
Right? He never takes away our will. We didn't have, and you know what? If you had not been here, you still would have been blessed somewhere else.
That's right.
But you need to be here today
Yes.
to hear what you heard today from the
Yes.
Spirit of God,
Yes. Thank you, Lord.
so that you can charge the atmosphere where you have to go when you leave out of these doors on today. So today, I want you to remember this. You've been called, say with me, I've been called.
I've been called
To defy.
to defy
An unprogressive environment.
an unprogressive environment.
Amen. The dark environments in my life can't restrain me. Say with me, the dark environment.
Dark environments in my life.
Cannot constrain me because it can't constrain the Dead Sea. God never created an environment without the potential
Thank you, Lord.
for resurrection. And right now, most of you that are sitting before me right now, God says you've been called to stimulate resurrection.
Amen.
You
Amen.
have the mantle of the authority of gifting
Amen.
on you. I can't go any further. You have the mantle on you right now to stimulate a resurrection. Just do me a favor and just grab the person's hand that you're sitting with. And I just want you to agree with them. That's all. That's all prayer is, just agreement. I just want you to agree with them right now. Just begin to agree.